You are now listening to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
My name is DJ Vince Adams. I absolutely appreciate what the Chicago Clubhouse crew is doing for the city of Chicago.
Hey, young world, what's good? It's your boy Bernard Varian, a.k.a. B Twice.
What up? This is Rasheed Davis, former Chicago Bear wide receiver.
Hey, my name is Lemuel Stinson, a.k.a. Lemonhead, formerly of the Chicago Bears.
What's up? My name is C.J. Watson, former Bulls guard and bench bomb creator.
This is two-time six-man all-star baller Ricky Deuces Pierce.
What's up, people? This is Chicago radio legend Rick Party, the voice you hear everywhere.
My name is Pee-wee from the movie House Party.
This is Megan Martinez from the Good and Funny podcast.
Hey, this is Bubba Ball from Shit's podcast.
Hey, this is Nika from One Shot Wellness, Reverend from the ATL, dropping some drips on that Chi-Town Clubhouse podcast.
This is Sherry, and you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
You are now rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
You're now rocking with Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
And you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
And you're rocking with the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast.
Where they think they know everything.
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 But they don't know shit.
But they don't know shit.
But they don't know shit.
But they really don't know shit.
But they really don't know shit.
But they really don't know shit.
But honestly, they don't know shit.
And I smell something. I smell podcast. The Chicago Clubhouse Podcast Show.
They really don't know shit.
You already know what time it is.
You see this Eddie Jackson jersey right here? Take this.
This dude literally just took my soul.
So I didn't like playing with Brett Favre at all.
You could have waited until the draft if you wanted to look at another quarterback. You didn't have to sign Andy Dalton, who is really nothing but a backup.
Evander Holyfield is 58 years old. What you want to fight a 58-year-old man?
But man, he wants to keep fighting.
Because he want to fight him. Okay, it's an exhibition.
But yeah, it's an exhibition because, you know.
This ain't Drago and Apollo Creed, man. Ain't nobody about to.
Man, Martin and Tommy Hearns was an exhibition. You saw what happened to Martin.
This could hurt.
Thanks, Hayden. Nothing but the best.
Okay.
All right.
That Brett tough for real, man.
Yeah, man. He like tougher than some grown folks I know, man.
That as a coach, your job is to give your players the best opportunity to have success.
Michael Jordan, when he came back at LeBron James' age, he was a straight up nothing.
That is blasphemy on his computer right now.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. Without Dennis Rodman, I couldn't see them winning like they did those second three championships. I can't see it.
I agree.
And now I'm the voice of SportsCenter on ESPN. Now on SportsCenter. Tonight, LeBron James. And whatever.
Do you guys really coach how exactly to tackle correctly? Because I see it all over the league now. People cannot tackle like they did whenever you guys played. But do you guys practice tackling at all?
Welcome to the podcast where we think we know everything, but we really don't know shit. But what we do know, or what I do know, is I'm about to start this podcast off like I always do. Moore's Beer, raise your standards. There's the porter right here. There are three different kinds. There's the black can, which is the session ale. There's the gold can, which is I think it's like a summer shandy. And this third one, the red one, there's a porter, and it's good as hell. It's like a Guinness, but better. So, cheers. But as always, man, I got to start the show off always with a special shout out to my guy that delivered my grill this morning, my grill and my deep freezer. His name is Johnny. Johnny from Home Depot, the North Avenue Home Depot. What's up, man? Hope you watching. If you're not, then I guess you're not. But anyway, and bring in my all-star team, man. There's so much to talk about. The Bears have been making good moves and some moves that make you go, why did he do that? But hey, we'll get into all of that. I heard the Hawks are playing well. We were going to have some Hawk talk today, but we decided there's too much other stuff to talk about right now. We'll get to the Hawks. And baseball is back, baby. It's back. And we have a show dedicated just to that. It's called Plunked. And that's going to debut April 4th, I believe. Sunday on April 4th, if that's a Sunday. But anyway, enough of that. Let me bring in my all-star team. First up, my man who knows every single stat from the 80s and 90s basketball and football. My man, JB. JB!
What up, T?
Ooh, it's a delay like a mug.
Oh, it is, not on my end. I'm good.
Yeah, it's a delay like a bug, man. But hey, at least you here, man. That's what counts. Hopefully, maybe that delay will fix itself or something. I don't know, but it's good to see you, man. How was your week, JB?
Real good, man. Just it's only Tuesday, so tomorrow hump day. We just got to keep it moving.
True indeed.
Yeah, I caught up that quick, didn't
I? Yeah, you did actually, which is great. So now I don't have to try to decipher what you're saying and then hear it like 5 seconds later. So let's keep this train moving, man. Up next, my man, Foul Mouth C.
What up? It's the rookie of the all-star team.
What's up, Foul Mouth?
What's up,
you're the
fellas?
rookie
How y'all
right
feeling?
now. You're the rookie, Foul Mouth, but that's all good. We ain't gonna make you go get cheesecake in New York, man. We ain't gonna make you do that and carry our bags.
Hey, look here, Puffy. I ain't trying to do no shit like that, man. I'm not trying to do that.
So how was your weekend, man?
My weekend was nice. Decent weather. It was good. It's gonna be even better tomorrow. Hump day.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm
riding my bike tomorrow. Not motorcycle, bicycle.
We have to ride bikes, man. I got my bike out too. Dude, these gas prices are ridiculous, man. I gotta take out a small business loan just to fill my car.
Man, I had to fill my car up. It took $110 to fill my car.
Oh my God, man. I would just die. I would die.
Yeah, I ain't doing that again.
Let's bring in the last part of the All-Star team, last but not least. X Factor AB.
Hold on. Hang on. Yeah, that's real Cambodian breast milk. The finest of breast milks.
You drinking breast milk?
You're talking about Puffy.
Oh,
true, show, man.
Yeah. You're right.
Clink,
You're right.
clink.
Yeah, I got it.
You gotta know that episode better, man. Come on.
I got it.
I'm sorry. I'm in a good mood, man, today. Beautiful day out. Got to go for walks, shorts and flip-flops. Loved it today, man. Had a great day outside. You guys, I got a question for you, man. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for this podcast?
I'm ready.
It doesn't matter if you're ready.
Got him.
Again.
We're starting early today, baby. We're starting early.
All the time with that man shit. But so today's podcast, man, we're gonna have Chris Harris on the podcast. And he probably has a really special interest in the combine because he's a coach. For you all that didn't know, he's the defensive backs coach for the now Commanders. That sounds like a hockey team.
We got to ask him about what he thinks about that name too. I'm real curious to know what he thinks.
That sounds like a hocky team, man. That don't sound like a football.
I would have left it as it was. I'd have left it as the football team. I honestly think that was better.
That was generic, but it was better than the Commanders.
It sound like a AAA squad.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that sounds like one of them generic teams that you play with on Madden back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh boy, like a minor league football team, Commander. But yeah, so he's gonna step in a little later. In a few minutes, he was at a basketball game, his son's basketball game. But man, we can talk about how these Bulls. They're inconsistent, man.
Good gravy.
They're inconsistent.
They actually came back last night, though. They were down by 21. They came back to what? Like, I think they made it a 3-point game, and then they just went cold. They just went flat cold.
Playing down to your competition.
It was the Kings, man.
They got smacked by Sacramento.
And my God, Sabonis. Do you not know what one pivot foot means? Like, this cat had 2 pivot feet the whole first half into the third, and they weren't calling it at all. I mean, he had one where he'd hold the ball, he'd be moving like this, and then just, other side now. It's okay. It's all right, ref. Don't worry about it.
Man.
Give me a break.
I don't know. I just know that talking about them is depressing because we all know that they're kind of like the Bears from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They're going to beat all the bum teams and struggle against the actual good teams. And when we get to the playoffs, we're going to have that mediocre draft pick again next year in the 20s because we made the playoffs, which is so important. We don't even have one
next year.
Oh, well, right.
They didn't get one because it
goes for Vooch.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not gonna dub them like that. I think it's gonna take some continuity. They still got two of their best defenders still out coming back. You know what I'm saying? One of them, which is actually, like I've been telling people for the longest, he's going to be the real key to this ignition of this team because he's the point guard.
You know who. You know.
Oh, because I thought you were talking about that.
Lonzo, right?
No.
Talking about
Lonzo.
Oh, you talking about No, I thought he was talking about P. Will.
I thought you were talking about Patrick Williams at first. I was going to say, what?
Nah.
That's another great defender, too.
He's the point guard. They're going to be able to get up and down the court long as Billy D sits up there and allows him to be the point guard instead of either Zach or DeMar bring the ball up, particularly DeMar. Because DeMar brings the ball up and ain't nobody else going to touch that motherfucker.
Nope.
Nobody else is going to touch it. He's going to go down there. He's going to do his little dribble between his legs, spin into a damn double team, and look up. Try to either shoot the ball or try to pass.
Yep. But Chris, I understand what you're saying with that, and you bring up a good point defensively. But the Bulls, just whether they were intact or not, they just haven't been good against the good teams, whether they've had their full complement of players or not. Now,
you forgot when they had their full complement, they were 8-0 players.
They were, he's right. He's right.
Again, 8-0 means nothing now because there's other teams that have dealt with injuries. There's other teams that have had people out for X amount of time. So we can't just say injuries are not a part of the game. The next man has to step up. The team as presently constructed, they're not beating anybody in a 7-game
Well,
series.
that's the thing, though, JB. You can't say that because as presently constructed, they haven't been full healthy. So you can't say one thing and then try to play it off another one. If they haven't been fully healthy, then you can't sit up there and say, oh, well, they haven't been fully healthy. They're not going to beat nobody if they are full healthy. We don't know that shit.
No, they're not.
I don't think they're going to win a chip fully healthy, but maybe they can get. I still think they're not any better than the second round, man. Honestly,
I have them losing in the second round.
Yeah,
y'all don't think they're going to make it to the second round?
I think second round they're losing, but that depends on the matchup.
They may lose depending on the matchup. That's exactly in though. It's all about matchups.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I had a fun fact for you too on this. So, did you know that Cleveland game where Alex Caruso came back? It was his first game back. The Bulls hadn't had a team under 100 points since the day he got hurt against Milwaukee.
Yeah.
That's telling right there. Alex Caruso changes that whole team's dynamic. And hopefully Lonzo Ball comes in and does
Lonzo
the same.
Ball does
He's
the
still a
same
great
thing.
defender. You've got
was
those
thinking-
perimeter defenders. That's a game changer. You get Patrick Williams back helping on the inside. That's good, but I still don't think it's enough, man. I just don't.
I think you all are giving Patrick Williams way too much credit. Like,
what are you talking about?
I just think he's a help inside.
So do I. Patrick Williams is not.
Nobody said Patrick Williams was the
He's
key.
not a pivotal piece.
I don't think he's like the guy, but he's definitely a sizable guy. Then you
Yeah,
need
he's
size
the
help down low.
extra defender that you got. Nobody's
rebounding.
expecting him
You
to
need
come in
blocks.
and score 20 and be a 20 and 10 guy. You expect him to come in, play some good D, knock down a couple shots.
That's what I need from him.
That's all you're gonna get.
I don't see him really contributing.
If that.
I don't see him really being able to contribute because when you play against Philadelphia, you have to go big. When you play against Milwaukee, you have to go big.
You
When
have to
play
go
against
big when you
Cleveland,
play.
you have to go big.
Who's Philadelphia's power forward?
You could
depends
lock
on the
him up
night.
on a Harris right there.
It
Put him
depends on the
Tobias
night.
Harris, probably.
Tobias Harris? Okay, him and Pat Will the same damn height.
You could put him on Harris.
You can't-
Exactly.
But I don't see Patrick Williams going against Harris to the point where he's going to shut him down.
I don't see Harris really even being that much of a factor because he hasn't been since James Harden got there.
But what I'm looking at is
Overrated, honestly.
what I'm looking at is, see, you looking position for position. I'm looking at help defenders because nobody can stop Embiid.
Yeah.
Bruce can't, Thompson can't, so they're going to have to send waves at him. Waves.
Okay.
And Patrick Williams being undersized at 6'7", maybe a tick above, 211, 210.
Nah, he bigger than that.
Give him 220. He can't do anything with Embiid.
It's not.
And
That's the
Nobody
thing.
can right now.
First of all, hey,
what happens when they go against? What happens if they go against? Right now,
let's go back to
right now.
Philadelphia. Let's go back to Philadelphia first.
Go ahead.
You want to talk about Philadelphia? We all know what Embiid's going to bring. James Harden. What has James Harden really been known for doing in the playoffs?
Choking.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what he's been known for doing in the playoffs. Choking. Inefficient turnovers. That's James Harden. You're going to be able, any team that plays Embiid, they're going to have to send waves at him. He's just that damn good.
Yeah.
The thing is that you got to have good perimeter players, defensive players.
What is Embiid's record against the Bulls?
11-0 now.
11-0. Oh, you think that shit gonna stay like that forever?
And he averages over 30.
But that means something.
I mean, it does mean something.
It means a lot.
It does.
They might get
Philly-
one out of him.
And
in the
Philly
playoffs.
doesn't have a bad supporting cast either.
No.
Huh?
I said Philly doesn't have a bad supporting cast
I
either.
mean, they don't, but they gave a lot of that away to Brooklyn too.
Again, another
And
scary
right
team.
now, my God, Kyrie Irving in the first half of that game right now, 41 points in the first half.
In the first half. Like,
But whenever you only got to play, twice a week because you sit at home games in front court and not play, you're going to have that,
And it don't look like that mayor's letting up that mandate either.
It's so ridiculous, man. Like, how can you sit in the front row and not be able to play? That makes no damn sense.
That's the $1 million question, right?
Explain that to me, someone.
But well, I'll say this. The worst draw that they can ever have is if somehow they play Toronto or Boston because he can't play at all.
Who can't?
Kyrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because He can't play in any of the games.
Yeah.
If he draws one of them.
I mean, but tell you the truth, I don't think they would need him to beat Toronto. Maybe Boston, but Toronto.
I mean, but still, do you want to put all that extra pressure on KD?
All they need is KD for that
And
series.
we don't know what Ben Simmons is going to turn out to be. We really don't.
I mean, we don't. I mean, they still got another shooter in Steph Curry, so.
But more importantly, fellas, I want to bring to your attention, while we're talking about our Bulls, do you really think at the 4-5 matchup, they just going to walk over the Celtics?
JB, you read my mind. Thank you again,
said what now?
brother.
I
Right
don't.
now, if they play, they're playing Boston as the 5 seed right now. Well, they're the 4 seed.
I'll take us over Boston.
With the way Jason Tatum's playing.
What?
I'll take us over Boston.
I don't know. That's a toss-up.
I'll take us over Boston.
They rebound the ball over there, though.
So, with that being said, I think we should table this Bulls talk for maybe another year.
Yeah, another century maybe.
I just talked to Chris. He's gonna come in soon. Okay. But we might as well go ahead and switch to football. This flurry of moves that the Bears have made. Some good, some
There's some breaking news too. Just happened. The Bears just re-signed Patrick Scales.
Is he like the long snapper? Yeah.
Funny.
I thought you guys would like that. Thought you'd be
that
happy
was
about
funny.
that.
That was funny.
Yeah, literally just happened like an hour ago.
So that no more James Daniels. They missed that boat if they were going to catch it anyway.
Yeah.
So he's gone to Pittsburgh for what was the contract?
Like 3 years, 26, right?
Yep.
3 years, 26, 28, and then something like that.
26 and a half maybe, but yeah, it's something around there. Yeah.
So in other words, very affordable.
Much lower than what I expected. I expected around $10 million a year. So that's very, very telling to me that the Bears, they didn't even make an offer on him.
Right. So that's what, like 8.6 per?
Around,
yeah.
Like and I'm sure that's all front loaded too. So on the back end, it's probably looking a lot worse. I'm sure it's probably not average that way, but sounds like we got a fifth member right now too of this crew in here.
We do.
I'm gonna let him get set up real quick, and then we will bring him in. I think he's ready. Maybe. We'll see. We'll bring him in. There he is.
Hey.
Okay, we're ready.
All right. Our guy. Super Bowl almost champion. Our champion, though. Definitely our champion, Chris Harris.
What's happening, fellas? How y'all doing?
What's up, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Can't complain.
Good. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
Good to be seen.
I hear you there.
We just gonna jump right into it, Coach. You saw the combine. What kind of or how deep is your interest in the combine?
Are you allowed to talk about this with us? That's our first question. Are you allowed to talk about the draft guys and the rookies coming in? Like, is that allowed, or free agents for that matter?
I mean, yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. All right.
So,
well, then.
Who did you like?
Who did I like? You know, it was quite a few guys, man. I think this is a good class of defensive backs.
Mm-hmm.
In this draft class. It's some good quality players, good quality. It's depth as far as the draft class is concerned. I think. Of course, everybody talks about Sauce Gardner. And, he's legit. He's a good player, man. He's bigger than I thought he was when I saw him
6'3"
in person. Yeah, he's a big individual, man. Tall individual. And so is the kid from Notre Dame, Hamilton.
Hamilton, 6'4", safety.
Yeah, he's a big human being as well, man. So it is some really good looking defensive backs there.
So, do you? I should ask this right, but safeties, in particular, safeties, man. So, were there any safeties other than size that really pop out at you in this draft that you have a love for?
Man, it's a few good safeties in this draft, man. The kid from Baylor's a good safety.
That would be Jalen Petrie.
That's
the guy that I like.
I don't know all their names. I can tell you their schools.
Well, the kid you need to hire an assistant to help you, man. I'm here. I promise you. Just ask.
The kid from Georgia's good. Of course, I mean, you know who the top guys are. But
from Georgia, I told you, Lewis Sin.
Sin, yeah, that's his name. Sin, and the Penn State kid's pretty good as well, man.
Jaquan Brisker, come on.
That's our favorite
talking my language, coach.
Yeah, he
ain't been wrong yet.
Too, man. I like watching him play. So, I mean, it's some good quality players in this draft, man.
So, I got a question for you. And it's about tandems and team concepts. when you watch certain players at the combine or their pro days and their tape, you mentioned the Sauce Gardner. I'm also going to mention Kobe Bryant, their safety for Cincinnati also. So do you look at how they played together and say, well, the only reason this and this happened was because of this and this? Or do you kind of just give them that individual grade still? Because we just want to wonder, like, when you're looking at it through that coach's lens. See, we're looking at it from a fan and what we might want for our team lens. I know you have to look at it from a different spectrum.
So I mean, you kind of see how they play together, how they intertwine with each other, how they play off of each other. But still, you're still looking at. I still have to look at them individually. Individually, exactly what did they do as far as the way they get lined up, the way they play press coverage, the way this guy's in the half field. So you got to study them each individually because you're not drafting the whole crew.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So you really got to see them and study each one of them individually and take your time with it.
So do you, when it comes down to evaluating, do you actually take a lot into them? Do you take a lot of the performance that happens at the combine, or do you prefer to sit up there and judge them more so off of the film that you see?
Me personally, I'm more, I call it EBD. It's an evidence-based decision. The tape for me, that holds a lot higher weight for me than per se their performance at the combine. And I guess the reason I'm that way is because I wasn't a great tester when I came out. So I wasn't, I knew I could play. Shit, I mean, I played 8 years, so obviously I could do something. And so I like to it's an eyeball test. Like, oh, what does the tape say? And then, okay, you look at the numbers and see what they do at the combine, and you're like, okay, I thought he was a little faster than that, but then you go look at the tape, like, but this dude don't get beat deep, So it's kind of one in one hand, one in the other. But me personally, I put more stock and more weight in the actual game tape and what guys are doing against other opponents than say all the times and combine. It's a metric stick to measure them against the other guys. But then to me, it's all about the tape. What do you do on tape?
Yeah, that game speed's much different than a 40 speed.
It is, man. I mean, it's not track and field. The 40 is such a, it's a technical run. I mean, guys who are just naturally fast, they're going to run fast, however it goes. But, you got guys who they may not be naturally fast, but they may blaze a 40 because they've really been trained and it's all about technique, staying down through the first 10 to 15 yards, form and all that stuff. You don't run with that type of form when you're playing football.
Yeah.
So, I look at it, it's a measuring stick to kind of gauge it to the other players, but that tape's got to stand out to me.
Yeah, the only time I've ever seen a player running like he's running a 40 was when DK Metcalf ran down Budda Baker. That's about the only thing close to that that I've seen in the NFL.
But a guy get drafted because he ran a 4.1, but he can't catch a cold, and he's a receiver, and it's like, so you draft him and he runs 4.29, 4.31, but he struggles catching the ball in traffic. Or you may have a DB who's a blazer, but he can't tackle, and you know what I mean? Like, you can be fast as you want to, but there's other skills and techniques that go along with that. So that's why the tape is so important.
Yeah, I agree completely, because there's so many wide receivers this year even that came out, ran a sub 4.4 that you haven't seen before. You've got to look at the film now on these guys because they're all –
you do.
That gap is just coming in more and more with these speed guys now, and you've got to look at more than that now in this draft.
No, you do. And speed kills. So everybody wants speed, and when we all want speed. So a guy, it may pique your interest, like, whoa, he ran what? Well, let me go back to this tape, and let me go back and look at this tape again, and see exactly what's going on here. So they perk your eyes up when you see those numbers, and it's like, all right, let me go back and look at this guy again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I had to tell somebody there's a difference between track speed and football speed.
Yes.
Some people, they may run a slow 40 time when they doing that combine, but when they out there, like I told people, what Jerry Rice ran, what, a 4.6, 4.7?
Yeah.
But how many times did you see Jerry Rice get caught from behind?
Even a Cooper Kupp ran a 4.6.
Exactly.
Look what he just did.
Coach, how important is height to you? Because you got a player like Jacoby Durant. He's a little dude, but he's super fast.
Yeah.
How important is that height?
At defensive back, I do like height. It's not an end all thing if you're small, but if you're small, you have to have a redeeming quality. I mean, an outstanding quality about you if you're a smaller guy. And the reason I say this because this is, I mean, football is a grueling sport. It is a barbaric sport. It is, I mean, it's a very physical sport. And just history shows you that small guys get injured. And it's not of their own thing, but I mean, that's just the fact, the nature of the beast, the nature of the sport that we play. And so you like bigger guys, but like I said, if you have a small guy, it's like he has to have a redeeming quality, outstanding quality. He's got to have unbelievable burst out of his pedal. Like he's got to have, phenomenal hands. Phenomenal. Or he's got to have something that's just super above everybody else. Because just like I said, those small, you like length, especially at the defensive back position, arm length. You really like arm length. For at the line of scrimmage when pressing, so you can use your hands, use your arm length to stun them at the line of scrimmage, and arm length goes into tackling. Guys with shorter arms probably miss more tackles. So like that length is a huge thing.
Are you a analytics guy? Do you believe in that a lot?
I do believe in analytics. I don't think it's all analytics, but I do. I think there's a place for it. I absolutely do think there's a place for it. But the thing about analytics can't tell me what the weather is. Analytics can't tell me how great our defense has been playing or how terrible our defense has been playing when deciding whether to go for a 4th and 1, or how bad our offensive line has been blocking and their defensive line has been dominating the line of scrimmage. So analytics can't put all those things into play. It's a good metric, but sometimes you got to go with your gut at times. Sometimes the analytics say don't do it, but your gut's like, man, do it. And if it works out, you're a genius. If it don't, you know how that goes. It all goes, man.
That's what's up.
Yeah, analytics cost Russell Wilson a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's exactly the one I had in my brain too.
So, but speaking of such, so with your position, because like you said, it's a lot of guys in this year's draft coming out, but you also got some free agents and you got some positions. So like when you dig really deep, like you got a guy like Kendall Fuller. We love Kendall Fuller, right? Are you looking to pair somebody of that same ilk of us, 5'11", 6 foot, kind of long arms of what you were talking about? So do you like players like that, or do you kind of just go with what you see?
I guess everybody has a type. Just like women, right? You got a type. You may date all kinds of women, but you have a type. you know what I mean? So everybody has a type. So I like the longer corners. Arm length. Height. You like them to be 6 foot. But everybody's not going to be 6 foot. Everybody's not blessed with that. Some going to be 5'10", some will be 5'11". Hell, you might have some 5'9". So, but to me, there's nothing wrong with smaller corners or smaller DBs, but you can't have a team full of them. You can't have a secondary full of them. So yeah, you can have one here there. Like you're not gonna go into a game and play with 5 point guards. I hope not.
You better not.
So it's that's kind of my thinking on it.
So then, if I don't really know how to say this correctly, right? But when you're trying to pair guys like safeties, for instance, right? Like you want to pair a hard-hitting safety with a guy that's kind of a center fielder that's freelancing over the entire field, right? Like what are the characteristics you're looking for whenever you are pairing one guy with another guy?
Well, nowadays the safety spots are coming a little more interchangeable than when I was playing. You know, when I was playing, you had that one tone setter, like, all right, this dude finna get the party started.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's gonna be the guy that's back there roaming the field, a la my guys in Seattle, Legion of Boom, right?
Yep.
You had Cam Chancellor that was laying the boom down, and you had Earl Thomas going sideline to sideline, picking the ball off. But the game is changing, and is really changing, where the safeties, both of them kind of need to be interchangeable to where, hey man, like, you need to be able to go down and cover a receiver. You need to be able to go down and cover a tight end. Like, I mean, a perfect example, in my opinion, I think a phenomenal safety tandem is the tandem in Buffalo with Poyer and Mike Hyde.
Yes.
I think they play really well together, and they're similar build. They're almost the same size, you know, and so they're interchangeable. So from a disguise standpoint, you can say, okay, this is a guy that's always going to go down when they're in an 8-man front, single high safety, or this is a guy that's always going to go down. So it's like, all right, they both can do both. So you can have this one go down this time, and then this one go down the next time. So having guys that are interchangeable, I think that's kind of the wave that the safety position is going to now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because then if you do that, that's better when you're disguising for your entirety of the whole defense. So you're going to have that QB guessing all the time.
Absolutely.
Well, I was going to ask you, does that matter, though? I was going to ask you, does that matter depending on the defense? Because I notice a guy like Jamal Adams is constantly in the box.
It does not matter. It does not matter depending on the defense. Say there, because they were primarily a single high team, like always. Yeah. So it's kind of like, all right, we play single high. That's what it is. So instead of us trying to do this disguise thing, we're going to play you to your strength. Your strength is down there in the box, point day digs. Your strength is being back deep, roaming the center of the field. So, I mean, it is some and some, some no. It all depends schematically what you do from a scheme standpoint.
Makes sense.
So, Coach, let me ask you this. You said a couple minutes ago that you can't have a defensive back core with everybody sub 6 feet. We look at your former team, the Bears. Their whole defensive back core, everybody's vertically challenged. Nobody's over 6 feet. What do you think of that?
I mean, if they all ballers, it doesn't matter. But this is my thing. This is my thing. You like to have some length, especially at the corner spot, at the safety spot, because arm length matters. It matters down the field. Like when you're running down the field on those 50-50 balls and you've got this long wingspan, you may not be right on the guy, but you put your hands up and now you obstruct the receiver's vision and it makes it difficult. So, I mean, that arm length really comes into play. It comes into play when you're tackling. You know, being able to wrap up. You go to tackle a guy, your arms you don't have really long arms or they're really short. It may cause you to fall off of tackles and miss tackles. When you're playing near the line of scrimmage for a safety, they're playing with these tight ends. The tight ends are 240, 250, 260. Safeties 190, 195, 200, 205 maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know that length can be somewhat of a neutralizer for you.
I was thinking about shedding blocks, especially.
100%. If you got short arms, you can get caught up on blocks when these guys come to block you, and you got short arms. You can't get them off you. You can't extend, and you know that's another factor. So I mean, I personally like the measuring stick. Really, is like 32 inches. So you look for a corner. You're like, man, all right, he's got 32-inch arms. That's considered long.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if they're under 30, that's considered short. And I'm not saying because the guy has 29.5-inch arms, he's not going to be a good player. No, I'm not saying that. But I just know those type of things come up and those type of situations happen with those type of players.
Okay, he said his arms or something like that short. I guess it needs to be something special about him. Huh?
Exactly. Like he's got to have phenomenal quick twitch. I mean, coming out of his break, I mean, explosive. Like his turnover is like second to none. You know, like Tyreek. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's not a big man, but he has something that is phenomenal that nobody in the NFL has, and that is blazing speed.
Change of direction is off the
Man, he can
charts.
control it.
Yeah.
You got speed, but it's not controlling it, though.
Exactly. His acceleration is unbelievable. He has some of the best acceleration that he can go from 0 to 60 like that.
So you're mentioning all these intangibles you need to have, all this stuff that you have to have. So say that you had a free safety that was 6 foot, a little over 200 pounds, 32-inch arms, and he comes out the gate and he's just making plays. He's intercepting the ball, running for touchdowns, and then he goes and gets paid, and then he comes back and he doesn't know how to tackle. Exactly what do
he
you
knows
do?
who you're talking about.
What do you do as
Are you talking about Eddie Jackson,
a
man?
DB's coach to help motivate this guy to get him to wrap up better and learning those easy techniques that you know well more than any safety that we have on this roster right now?
Spit out my drink.
We only have one. What are the kind of things you would do as a coach really to help improve his game and bring him to the level he should be at?
First of all, you have a conversation. You talk to the kid, whoever it is, whoever we're talking about. You talk to the person and make sure they still understand like what the why is. Like why are we doing this? Like what is our why? And you have that conversation.
Why?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Everybody has a why. Everybody has a different why. Like my why is different than somebody else's why than their why. But you gotta have a why, and you gotta stay in touch and in tune with that why.
We just let you know, Chris. We got a PTSD about that word why, man. We've been hearing that.
Use that word a little too much.
I'm over here shaking right now. The minute you say why.
Matt Nagy used that all the time.
How many coaches use that word? Because it seems like a lot of coaches use this phrase a lot, but some of them know it more than others.
Well, that's why I say I think that's just propaganda and media talk, because I'm just going to say it. When you have a player that's become 10-man, we all know what the 10-man is, right?
Oh yeah, he need to go see. He need to go see him about that thing pumping his chest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's not a why that you can fix.
I don't think so.
You know what? Everybody plays this game for different reasons, and we everybody. And having been in this arena, we all play it for different reasons. Some people play it for the name that's on their back, they truly play it for the name that's on the back of their jersey. Some people do it for their children, for their family. Some people do it for the money. Some people do it for the cash. It's a great living. It is a phenomenal lifestyle. And so whatever your reason for doing it, I don't care what your reason for doing it. If it's for the money, it's for the money. It is what it is. But to me, it needs to be more than just the money. Because if you're only doing it, if you only do this thing just for the money, once you get the money, you have no other incentive to do anything. So that's a talk that a person has got. They got to look in the mirror. So that's a mirror talk.
So do you have that? So you have that conversation with said safety player, and then it just kind of continues that same way. At that point, as a coach, what do you do with that next step? Do you go up the chain and go, hey, we got to have a sit down with this guy. What do we do to make this guy better without just completely just alienating him, which should be happening probably anyway?
I think as a coach, you still got to coach. As a coach, you still coach. You coach them. I don't care how much money you make. Because, see, I'm a different coach than most guys. And the reason I say that is, first, I played. So I understand what it is you're thinking. Like because I thought the same thoughts that you're thinking. I understand what it is you're thinking. And I understand everybody's motivation is different for playing the game. And so when I come into a room and I coach my players and I talk to my players, I tell them, I say, hey man, I understand the lifespan of this profession is like this. I said, we got this long to live, and this lifespan in this profession is like this. So it's my opportunity to help you take care of your family for the rest of your life. And if I go into a room and I ask them if I have their permission to coach them, I ask individually, I go into the room and I say, I don't care who it is. I say, do I have your permission to coach you? Yes.
Oh, he freeze
Oh,
up on him.
man.
Oh, look, I was all
good too.
Yeah.
Get him back. Get him back.
Out of that funk, man. I was loving where he was going with that.
Yeah, we got to get him back in here.
I'm good. I'm back. I'm good.
Well,
okay, you good?
Yeah, you good. Okay.
So you asked them for their permission, and then what?
I actually, hey, I got your permission to coach you. Yeah, coach. Yeah, coach. Yeah, coach. Yeah, coach. Yeah, coach. Okay, boom. So now I got them. So now I'm coaching them. And so when one of these moments, I do this in the off season. When we fresh in April, everybody gung ho to get back. Boom, boom. So now, boom, I do that. We go into training camp. We start training camp up again. I ask again. Hey, we had this break. Hey, go back. Do I have your permission to coach you? You individually, I call them by the name, ask them, yes. So then it's going to be a moment in the season. I don't know. I can't tell you when, but hey, it's going to be a moment in the season. Some shit comes up and they're going to have an attitude because it's all about accountability. Like if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it's my job as a coach to correct you and to make sure that you're doing it the way that we're asking you to do it. And so somebody's going to bark back. It happens every year. So when they bark back, I go to them. I said, so do I no longer have your permission to coach you? Because earlier you gave me your permission to coach you. Now it puts it back on them. So you let me know. Do I no longer have your permission to coach you? And most of them, yeah, coach, you got to. Because see, you got to understand, like a lot of times, sometimes people lose humility. I think humility is the biggest thing that you can have in our game as a player and as a coach. Because when you have humility, it allows you to get better. If you don't have humility and you lost humility, you can't get better because humility allows you to identify what your weaknesses are. And if you can identify your weaknesses, you can get better. But if you don't have humility, it's impossible to identify your weakness. And if you can't identify your weakness, it's impossible for you to get better. And so for me, it's all about, hey, humility. You got to have humility and you got to stay humble. And so trying to keep them humble, and it's hard. I mean, they're playing a kid's game, getting paid a king's ransom. I mean, it is what it is. But if you can keep your players engaged and keep them with that humility aspect of it, and, I'm more of a conversationalist when I'm a coach, as a coach. I'm not a screamer. I'm not a yeller. I don't think I have to scream and yell to get to a player to get them to do what it is I'm asking them to do. To me, it's all about relationships. If you don't have a relationships with your players, then they don't do anything for you. Rules without relationships can create rebellion. I learned that a long time ago. So think about a stepdad coming in with a son. Mom gets married. She got this 12-year-old, 13-year-old son, and dad and stepdad come in. And he trying to lay the law down, and he ain't got no relationship with the kid, right? So you ain't got no relationship. You ain't my daddy. You already know how it goes. You ain't got no relationship with the kid, and so you're creating all these rules with no relationship. That creates rebellion. Okay, boom. You create that relationship. You create that bond, and so now I can talk. I can raise my voice with you, and you don't feel some type of way. I can get loud. I can use some choice words, some choice language, and you don't get offended because I have your best interest at heart.
Man,
I just wrote down that quote and I give you credit. I will be giving you credit. When I talk to my kids in school, I'm gonna be like, hey, rules without relationships cause rebellion. Actually, I'm gonna say that to the teachers because that's a whole nother story. But from the head man down, though, Chris, Coach, does that create like that point of contact for that first assessment, that first initial assessment when that player walks up? Does that cross that relationship, or is that literally just fix it? And I don't want to hear how you fix it. Just fix it.
I don't think it's just fix it. It can't be that way. Just hey, fix it. No. So
that's the difference between a regular coach and a great coach. It's the guy that isn't the guy who's going to sit there and just say fix it, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, man. You can't just come in and fix it. You gotta have. To me, this is a huge relationship-based business. It's huge. I think relationships are everything. And I mean, I think that's why the Lovie Smiths are successful. That's why the Tony Dungys are successful. That's why the Mike Tomlins are very successful, because they know how to relate to people. If you can't relate to people, it is hard to be a leader of men. It's extremely hard to be a leader of men if you can't relate to people from all walks of life, not just your own personal walk of life. You have to be able to relate to all walks of life. I gotta be able to relate to the atheist. I got to be able to relate to the Christian. I got to be able to relate to the Jew. I got to be able to relate to the guy who listens to nothing but heavy metal. I got to be able to relate to the guy that listens to nothing but rap. You got to be able to relate to every single person. And the people who can do that and can communicate are the ones who have success.
Agree.
Man, that's another nugget, another gem. That's awesome, Coach.
Real talk.
Awesome. And so many people we've talked to in the past, they always love their position coach. If we know they always shouting out the position coach. So building their relationships from jump. I love that, man.
It's huge, man. It's huge. But I mean, see, to me, you got to take an interest in them. And it's not just what can you do for me. So I was fortunate enough to be around a great. I think Gus Bradley is one of the best coaches I've ever been around.
Mm-hmm. Good one.
And being around him, I really saw what servant leadership was. You know, helping everybody get better with no agenda. That's the definition of servant leadership for me. Helping everyone get better with no agenda. And when your players see that you don't have an agenda, like, man, he just doing this because he's trying to move up. He just doing this because he's trying to get in. So when you can do something for someone, and I don't want anything in return. When I step in, hey, man, this is what I want for you. I want you to become the best player that you can possibly be. I want you to make the most money that you can possibly make in this short career that you have. And guess what? I don't want nothing from you. I got my own. I don't need nothing from you. I don't want anything from you. I genuinely want to see you be the best person you can be, make the most money that you can make, and live the best life that you can possibly live when this game is over. That is all I care about. And I let them know from day one when I get them, whether they're a free agent, whether they're a draft pick, I let them know I don't want anything from you. I don't want anything from you.
Man, hey, Coach, when the tryouts, man? You got me fine. I'm ready.
I'm ready to put these pads on, man.
Love it, man. That's beautiful.
Probably good for the soccer. That's it.
Let me ask you this, Coach. When you were a player and your defensive backs coach could A, be a former player, or B, just be a regular Joe Blow who happened to get a job as defensive backs coach, who are you going to respect more?
Well, I'm going to respect them both. You naturally, it's human nature to gravitate to the guy who played because you're like, man, he did this. So he know it. So for a guy who played, they kind of get instant credibility without having to do anything, because especially, you know, you play 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, however many years you play. You played in the league, so you kind of get instant credibility. So the guys who didn't play, they have to earn that credibility, and they end up getting it. Like some of my best coaches I had didn't play in the national. They played in college, you know, but they didn't play in the league. Steve Wilkes being one of them. Steve Wilkes didn't play in the NFL. He's one of the best defensive back coaches I ever had. Hands down, one of the best defensive back coaches I ever had. John Hope, one of the best defensive back coaches I had. He coached with the Bears. John Hope was there. You know, he played a year or two with the Bears, I think. But he was one of the best defensive back coaches I had. So I've had DB coaches who never played that were phenomenal coaches. But I think players instantly give instant credibility to guys who did play it, because they see like, okay, this dude did it. And then especially if you got a couple stripes behind your name, you know, like, oh, okay, because my players mess up, like, yeah, hey, I had 17 picks now. I wasn't no like,
no slouch.
Don't get it twisted.
So that was gonna lead me to my next question. You being a defensive backs coach for the Commanders, I'm still trying to.
We'll get to that question later too.
You being the defensive backs coach, do you say to your players, "Hey, look, I did this shit, so you gonna have to do it the way I say to do it, because I did it. I'm trying to tell you how to do it correctly." Do you ever have to do that?
Every so often I do. Not often, but every so often you get somebody who bucks like, man, yeah. And so I'll be like, listen, I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've done this, and I've done it this way, and it was effective. So let's try to do it this way. If it don't work, then it's on me. If it doesn't, it's not on you. If it don't work, it's on me. Now, if you do it your way and you screw it up, you don't do it right, I expect you to be man enough when it comes to the media to own your own stuff. If you did it a way I didn't, that you were not coached to do, and it didn't work, I expect you to be man enough and own up to it. If you do it your own way and it worked, I'm gonna give you all the praise. And I'll even stand on the sword for you when you are wrong. But when we close the door, me and you gonna have a talk. I will never throw one of my players under the bus, man. That is how you lose. That's how you lose players. That's how you lose your team. That's how you lose credibility. So I will never, ever, ever throw any of my players under the bus, even if I know they dead wrong. I will never do it. I will always have a back. But when the cameras is gone, yeah, we're gonna have a little come to Jesus meeting.
Yeah.
I'm at your head, man. I'm at your head.
Between accountability and throwing someone under the bus, just like you said, behind closed doors, man.
To me, I don't think you have to do that in public, and especially with today's athlete. Today's athlete is different than when I was playing, and even the guys before me. Like it was, man, you got berated, and that was just like, what? Yes, coach. Like, what you gonna do? But today's athletes they're different. They're different, and they really can't take that. And I feel bad for today's athlete because I think they have more pressure now than we did, with the pressure of social media, the pressure of everything. Like they can't do anything. If social media was around when I was playing, oh my God. Some of the dumb stuff we did, me and my teammates, which I cannot say on air.
Which player would have been in the most trouble out of your group, though? You can say that.
Oh,
you don't got to give any examples, but which player out of
you ain't even got to say a name. Just give a position.
Yes, he does. Come on.
Linebacker. That's
well,
Lance Briggs.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Man, so I mean, they got so much pressure, and so we live in a 24-hour news cycle now with social media. So it's different. Like you had SportsCenter, okay, they replay shit out of the highlights or whatever, but now it's 24/7. So you have a bad play, you get shook, you get run up. Now it's on a loop. Now it's on Vine. It's looped 24/7, and they have to live with that type of pressure. So the mental toughness it takes to play this game now, I think you have to be even more mentally tough to play now with all the things that go on with social media.
Yeah, it's damn near like you don't even want to step outside the crib because you can go out there and give your neighbor the finger, and it's going on TMZ and everything now.
You don't even have to step out of your house. You can type on a computer and mess up.
Man, I'm telling you.
They say, "What? Don't press send. Watch yourself.
Don't press it." Because and see, what happens is that stuff plays on a loop, and now the perception. You have one bad play. That's just like I saw some quote the other day. A guy said a professor was in there and he put up these problems. He was like, 1 times 9 is 9, 2 times 9 is 18, 3 times 9 is 27, 4 times 9 is 36, and then he messed up on one, and he went all, and everybody started snickering, like, oh, he messed up. He was like, nobody gave me applause for all 9 of the ones I got right. All you were focusing on is the one that I got wrong. And that's what social media does, and these athletes. And so now it creates this perception because it's looped over and over and over and over and over again. And I mean, and it's unfair to them. Like I feel for my kids right now. Like my kids are living in this social media age now, and everything they do, you know, I mean, if they're fortunate enough to go on and play college sports, you know, and they having to deal with those type of pressures, and it's difficult, man.
Yeah,
under a microscope 24/7, but that's what a lot of fans are going to come up to you and say, well, that's what you get paid the big bucks for now, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't make it right, though, does it?
It doesn't. The amount of money I make doesn't mean I'm not human.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm still human. I still have human feelings. Like I'm not a robot. So I still have feelings. I still feel a certain type of way, regardless of how much money I get paid. That I don't think that gives a person a right to bash somebody like
well
crazy.
That's a massive disconnect that fans that don't get to speak to you or other players on the regular like we do really understand that you guys are human just like us. You guys think the same way we do. Like I was a meathead fan for a long time too, but I never went to that level to where I wanted to just come after somebody like that.
I remember I was playing. I was in Target. It was like, you in Target? Yeah, I'm in Target. What do you mean?
Right.
Where else am I supposed to shop?
Good ass deals at Target. What you talking about?
I'm at Walmart where they rolling back prices. Yes, I am. I shop there too.
So maybe they think there's a store for the rich and famous. You know,
that don't mean he got to go there.
Oh, bougie are us.
But I wanted to ask you about that, Coach. How you all handle the social media when it gets out of hand? Because not too long ago, I remember the media killing social media killing Chase Young for that chain. Remember that big old W chain that he had? Like
I like
it's like the man bought a chain. Like, why is that like world breaking news? Like he bought a chain. Oh, it's so big, it's gonna make him fall over, and he don't want to play no football. He just want to make money and buy. Like, how do y'all deal with
that? It was okay when Joe Burrow did that, but whenever Chase did that, everyone's getting on him, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's a whole other issue.
I tell them there's nothing wrong with that. That's one of my favorite lines in my meetings. I like nice things. Yes, I like nice things. Most people do. Most people like nice things.
Right.
When you have the means and you're capable of getting those nice things, okay, get those nice things. Like that's a saying I tell anytime my players drop a pick, I go to them and I say, man, you must not like nice things. Because the ball is the most precious thing we got. So that's an ongoing line in my room. If you drop a pick on the field, I say, hey man, do you not like? You don't like nice things? Like what's up? What's up? You know. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with nice things. And when it gets out of hand, I just tell them, hey, disconnect. Just get off, man. It's so hard for them too. But I'm like, man, just get off, disconnect. This too shall pass, man. They'll forget it. I mean, like Jay-Z say, first they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. So they're gonna love you. You're gonna do something.
Right, as long as you make plays, right?
Right. You're gonna miss a tackle. And that's what it is, man. They're gonna love you, they're gonna hate you, then they're gonna love you, then they're gonna hate you again. And you have to try to stay even keel, man. And you gotta try to, you know, it really affects their mental. Like don't let it affect. I know it's easier said than done. I guess I'm a little different because I try to block out. I think I'm able to block out the noise for the most part. I mean, you still see little stuff, but I mean, you got to be able to block it out. And because this is our profession, this is our job, this is what we do. I think professional athletes it's a very difficult job. Yes, you're paid a lot of money, but it is a difficult job. And if you can't handle the mental grind and the mental aspect of people talking shit about you, of people talking bad about you, of people writing bad articles about you, if you can't take that and that affects your play, then you're in the wrong profession. You shouldn't be a professional athlete.
Gotcha. And that makes so much sense.
It seems like a guy in Los Angeles right now is going through that.
it's difficult, man. It's difficult for some of these players, man, and they got to understand and realize that, like, if you can't handle the mental grind and the mental stress and the mental strain that being a professional athlete comes with, then you should find another career, find another profession.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's very telling.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the mental game, that's before you even make your first play already.
Yes, it is a man. Football, I'm a firm believer, man, that football is really about 30% physical, 70% mental. Man. It is extremely mental. And to be able to control your mind, the mind is a powerful thing, man. And regardless of what you put in your mind, it's gonna give back to you. And I use this analogy with my players, man. If you think about soil, right? Fertile soil. I'm from the South, so they do farm. My granddaddy had a farm. So think about fertile soil. And regardless of what you put in that soil, you can put corn in that soil, or you can put lupin, which is poison. But the soil's fertile. It's fertile. So whatever you put in that soil is going to bring it right back to you. So the soil don't care what you put in it. The soil could give two shits whether you put the corn in there or whether you put the lupin in there, which is poison. Whichever one you put into it is going to give that back to you. And our brains are more powerful than the soil. So whatever you feed your brain positive thoughts, you feed your brain positive affirmations, or you feed your brain negative stuff, or you keep reading all this negative stuff that everybody's writing about you, that everybody's saying about you. Whatever you feed your brain, that's.
Oh, I was getting into that.
He keeps getting these great quotes.
Oh my God, I was getting into that.
Sound like Joe Clark.
I was like, yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Well, crack, don't you?
Sound like Joe Clark up in here.
Oh man!
While we wait,
All I heard about feeding the brain, feeding your brain cells, son. Feeding your brain cells.
I'm saying
you're going off on these tears and just freezing halfway, man.
Whatever you feed your brain, man, that's what's going to come.
So go back, Coach. You said, what was that other thing? You said corn, potatoes. What was the other thing?
It's called lupin. It's a poison.
Lupin is a poison. Okay.
Poison. And so, like the fertile soil doesn't care what you put in it. It's going to grow back to you whatever you put in it, because it's just the soil. The soil's fertile. It don't care what you feed it, but whatever you put in it was what's going to grow out. So that your brain is more powerful than the fertile soil. So whatever you put into it, whatever you feed your brain. So if you're on social media and you're seeing all this stuff, negative stuff, and that's all you look at, that's all you focus on, all the bad, what everybody says, then that's what's going to come out, and that's what your brain is feeding. That's what it's getting. So to me, I'm one of them positive affirmation. I'm a glass half full. I wake up every day, something good's about to happen. I don't know, something good's about to happen. Like that's how I try to live my life. Something good is about to happen. Whether something good happens or not, I'm gonna tell myself something good's about to happen, man. Something good's gonna happen.
I love it. Hey, again, Coach, like I said, you never tryouts. You need a towel, boy, man. Hit me up.
So, Coach, how did you deal with it? Because how did you keep yourself humble? Because you were one of the coldest safeties that the Bears ever had. You were like that red jelly bean in a bag full of black jelly beans coming out of the 6th round. How did you keep yourself humble?
Man, I think I was fortunate enough, man. My parents, the way I was raised, both my mom and dad, retired teachers. They both were educators, and that was kind of really strict. And they worked at the so they were not only were they teachers, but where they taught at. They taught at the correctional facility, the juvenile correctional facility. So my mom was a home ec teacher, and my dad was a physical education teacher at the school where basically kids were incarcerated. So the juvenile center. And so, they would take me up there every once in a while. And, I'm like, man, I ain't about that life.
Well, that can humble you real quick.
it will, man. And so my parents, they both went to college. And so they really stress education. My dad's a deacon, at church. My mom's Sunday school teacher. So that's kind of how I was raised and how I grew up. So it was like, you know, humility, man. Because the minute you start thinking you better than, or you get almighty, man, you can get humble. You can get knocked off that horse. You can get knocked off of it real quick. And so, you know, trying to keep that level head and stay humble, regardless of the good things that happen to you. You know, staying high. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I know it wasn't because of me. I'm thankful. I got some praying parents, man, because I know I did some dumb shit.
Haven't we all?
We all have. Okay. So speaking of dumb shit, I had one more question for you. What's with the football name? What's with the
Hey man, I just work there.
So you guys didn't have like any say so or votes or like any of that stuff in that? You guys didn't have a meeting?
Man. I found out when y'all found out, man. So I've been in Washington for 3 years. I've been a Redskin, a football team, and a Commander.
In 3 years.
Greatest
What did you think when you first heard that name?
I was just like, yeah, all right. We got a new name. You know, it was because Washington football team grew on me. You know, I guess once you have something long enough.
A lot of people said that the football team stuck with them.
I liked it.
But
who the hell came up with the Commanders?
I don't know, but after a year or two, you're gonna be like, all right, Commander straight. It's gonna take time, just like everything. That's like Vegas Raiders. Like when they first met, I was like, Vegas, but right now I just say Vegas. Just like the Chargers. Like right now, I
still say San Diego.
Yeah, I still say Oakland.
You know,
I can't help it.
But eventually you're gonna get there.
Well, when they asked for votes, I said the Red Fins, but you know, it didn't win.
You voted? You voted?
It was an online thing where they said vote for the name of the football team. It was like stuff, but nobody liked my name. But
yeah, I'm sure they didn't pay.
I want to switch questions for you because you got a homecoming, your first game of the season this year. Are you excited, or you already checking that as a W in the box? Like what we thinking?
I'm always excited.
Y'all forgot about that? We played.
That's right.
I ain't forget.
I damn sure didn't forget. That's why I was excited to talk to Coach.
And I'm gonna be there.
I'm always excited, man. Anytime I get to play Chicago, man, I'm excited. It's always fun because normally I see some old teammates on the sideline, man. Last time I came to Chicago, I was with the Chargers, and they happened to be celebrating the 2000s team players. And so a lot of my teammates from that Super Bowl team was there. So I got to see Briggs. I got to see Israel Adonijah. Of course, saw Peanut, saw Thomas Jones, saw Alex, saw Rashid, saw Jason McKee. I got to see Jerry Azuma. So I got to see all the boys, man. So it's always fun. So, you know, hopefully, you know, some of those guys will be back. I enjoy coming back to Chicago and playing there. It always feels weird on the opposing bench. That still feels weird, you know, being on the opposite sideline and being in the visitors' locker room. But it's always fun being there.
So what you thinking though? Because
how do you game plan for Justin Fields?
No game plan. I want to hear that.
I do. I want to hear exactly how he game plans, so then they know.
Matter of fact, I want to know what you think about him. What do you think about Justin Fields?
You know, I think Justin is a very, very athletic player, and I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be good. I really do. I don't think people really understand, like, that position of all positions in the National Football League is the biggest position that you have to get acclimated to in the NFL is quarterback. Because in college, the guys who do come in, you have a handful that come in and have success early as a quarterback. But most, remember, Peyton Manning threw the most interceptions in the league his rookie year. So that's an adjustment because the defenses are faster. Things are moving more post-snap as opposed in college. They kind of, they clap and then look over to the sideline. Defense looking over to the sideline. They adjust, and then they getting ready. And then the defense get lined up. In NFL, it ain't like that, baby. You ain't doing that. So defenses are gonna lie to you. They're gonna show you this before the snap, and then they're gonna show you this right before this during the snap, and then they end up rotating to something else. And so being able to understand that exactly how the defenses are rotating, how the defensive schemes are attacking you, the different coverages that you're seeing, and understanding what reads you have to go to, your progressions that you have to go to. Because in college, they really don't. It's more of an RPO game in college, so it's not really progression like the NFL game. NFL game, you got, you used to see Drew Brees working out pregame, and boom, he throw the ball, but then he look here. Okay, he knows that's progression on this play. He looks here to here. Okay, here's my fourth progression or third progression. And so that's the thing that I think young quarterbacks really have to master and understand. And I think he'll take a leap from year one into year two, because the best experience is playing experience. And he got a chance to play. He got thrown in that fire, got a chance to play. And so I think he'll learn from it. I want to see him be successful. I mean, I'm pulling for him, just not against us.
So stay with that. Stay with that, Coach. Stay with that, because I'm concerned now. I'm the guy. I'm the one that's not really – I'm not happy that we signed Matt Eberflus. But do you think because that's a rookie head coach that there are some advantages you might gain in that when you play against them? Because we know he's gonna make mistakes. He's a rookie head coach.
Right, he's gonna make mistakes, but I like Eberflus, man. He was with a great coach that I had when he was in Dallas.
Okay,
Ryan Marinelli. I think the world of Ryan Marinelli.
We love Marinelli around here. We definitely love Ryan.
That was one of his shout-outs in his press conference, yeah.
He was a master motivator. He was one. So I took a lot from Ryan as a coach now, when I was playing. Because I knew I was going to coach when I was playing. And so I had him as my coach for 2 years. And it was so much I took from him. The biggest thing I took from him is he used to always say, and when I got there as a coach, he would say, coach the man first, coach the player second. Coach the man first and the player second. And so it's like, because we're all human beings, man. Like that's the same thing I was talking to you earlier about. Like you're not just a piece. I'm not trying. It's that servant leadership, man. I'm coaching the man. You're a man. I'm coaching the man first. I'm talking to you like a man. I'm not going to belittle you. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not trying to embarrass you in front of your peers. I'm going to coach the man first and the player second. And so that always stuck with me. And so for him to have been around Rod for as long as he was, I mean, being around him, he can't do nothing but rub off on you as a coach. So, I think he's going to be successful. I hope he's successful. I always pull for the Bears, man. The Bears is the first team that gave me an opportunity to play. They're the first team that gave me an opportunity to coach. So I'm forever feel like I'm indebted to the Bears because they gave me my opportunity as a player and my first opportunity as a player and my first opportunity as a coach. Right. My dream would be to come back and be the head coach for the Bears. Like that.
Well,
hey,
please. We are now running a cover 3 Tampa 2 with a defensive coach. You could maybe sneak in that safeties room if things don't work out in Washington. You never know. You never know. We actually had a fan here ask a question. Our buddy Frank, he wanted to know do you believe since you had Lovey as a coach, do you need an offensive-minded coach to succeed? A DC can help you read all the defenses better, or what do you think works better? Probably defense for you, I'm assuming.
To be quite honest with you, I don't think it matters whether you have a defensive head coach or whether you have an offensive head coach. Yeah. To me, and I think that's what's wrong with the hiring cycle of head coaches. Everybody gets enabled, okay, this guy's an offensive guy, this guy's a defensive guy. To me, a head coach is a guy who is a leader of men. I don't give a damn if he calls offense. He could not call an offensive play. He could not call a defensive play. A head coach is somebody who can get everybody pulling in one direction. You hire other people to do that. You hire other people. Like, I don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room. If I'm the smartest person in the room, we got a problem.
hear you there.
I don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room. I'm gonna hire other people who are smarter than me that can help me in the areas that I am weak. But you got to have humility and able to do that. You got to have humility to be able to do that. So, to me, a head coach is all about a leader. It's a leader first. I don't care if you're just because you're a great offensive coordinator doesn't mean you're a great leader. That means you're great at designing plays. Just because you're a great defensive coordinator doesn't mean that you're a great leader of men. That means you're good at scheming defenses. So to me, I think people look at, okay, is he an offensive guy? Is he a defensive guy? I think they put too much stock in it, and they need to be looking at his characteristics, his character, and what type of leader he is. Can he get men to follow him?
I mean, yeah, because I can name a couple just right off bat. There was a time when John Harbaugh was a special teams coach. There was a time when Bill Belichick was a special teams coach. So it doesn't really matter which side of the ball. You can be a special teams coach.
I feel like Coach just described the former Bears coach. He was the offensive coordinator for Kansas City, right?
Matt Nagy, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And he was not a good leader of men, nor was he a great offensive mind, but that's what he was supposed to be. I know, Chris, you're not going to comment on that. You don't have to, but I don't think he was a great offensive mind, but he was not a great leader of men. He actually threw one of his players under the bus. You all remember that?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, he threw one of his players under the bus. And Coach was just saying that a good coach does not do that. Yeah. You have your players back no matter what. And then behind closed doors, you'll be like, look, man.
I feel like that was kind of a desperation move on that.
But see, but it depends too, because
keep his job, but he did.
A certain coach can say a certain thing, a certain player, just like we all famously know. Peyton Manning said, if it wasn't for our idiot kicker getting liquored up and stuff, and it was more like, look at Peyton being a leader. It was not like, oh my God, look what Peyton just said. Same thing with Tom Brady. I think it was Nate Solder or somebody he cussed on the sideline. But the minute Jay Cutler grabbed Jamarcus Webb and was like, dude, stop letting me get sacked, it was a problem. So, I think it depends on the cachet of the individual too.
It's all about reputation.
Man, perception. Perception's a mug, bro.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I said earlier. You have a guy on your team who he bought a big chain. Everyone's killing it for him. Joe Burrow's running around. He's the king of the world wearing that thing.
Yo, cool.
What's the difference here?
Winning and losing.
That's the only difference.
Well, hey, I got a question for you.
Coach got froze again. Coach froze again.
Coach froze again.
Oh, he froze.
There you go. He's back.
Man, is that my Wi-Fi over here? I got this Teddy Riley Wi-Fi over here.
Hey, man, you got to Walmart for the router.
Well, I told you I got Walmart, man.
That's that Aldi's internet. I got a question for you, Coach.
What's up?
When you come back to the Chi, what type of pizza you eating?
Ooh,
I got to beat us to it, Chris.
I got to. Like, I get killed for this. Like, I really like Illuminati's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Illuminati's guy. I like Illuminati. Now, with that being said, most of the times when I come back, I normally go to Giordano's.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
I normally go to Giordano's. I do like Illuminati's. I am a fan of Illuminati's.
You like the sausage, the patties, and the big tomatoes?
Yeah, man, I do. I'm a fan of it. But when I go back, I always go to Giordano's. Always.
You stop at any chicken places, maybe?
I hit Hurls every once in a while.
There you go.
With mild sauce, heavy on the mild sauce.
Yeah, I got 3 spots I go to, man. I go to Portillo's.
Okay.
Have to.
I'm a Portillo's guy, so I go to Portillo's, I go to Harold's, or I hit Giordano's.
All certified.
Oh man,
there you go.
Smart man.
There you go. Those are with the exception of Portillo.
You don't rock with Portillo's, man?
You don't like
no,
Portillo's?
man. I think Al's beef definitely has Portillo's number. Portillo's is good. It's cool, but my go-to is Al.
Are you talking about just for Italian beefs?
I'm talking about just for Italian beefs, yeah, because I'm
You
assuming
gotta go to Freddy's on 31st.
That's what you. Oh, okay.
You gotta go to Freddy's on 31st. That's the best.
Take me. I ain't never even heard of it.
Oh, Chris,
Done.
you want to try a new spot when you were in town?
Done.
You already got it. Freddy's on 31st.
Hey, Chris, we got another question in the chat. Frank is a fool, man.
Oh, here we go. I don't even know if I want it. Another question.
Oh no.
Would you talk to the Commanders organization about trading for Eddie Jackson?
Lord.
If you did that, you would be the king of Chicago if you did
Right.
that. But you might be out of a job if you do that too at the same time. So we don't want him to do that. No, Frank. We like Chris.
Eddie Jackson is like the serial master.
He was a turnover king, though. I hadn't really paid attention to the. I mean, to be quite frank, I hadn't really watched the Bears on defense. To be honest with you, so I couldn't tell you. What I do remember of Eddie Jackson, though, I remember that dude taking the ball away and scoring. Like that's what I remember.
Yeah.
That was 2018. Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Nick T.
I was gonna say, yeah, that was 2018. But after he got that contract, we didn't see any of that anymore. And I think you kind of alluded to it, Coach, that some players play for money. And I think he fits that category. So once he got that contract, he was like, I'm about to keep my jersey clean. I'm about to keep my jersey clean, and I ain't breaking none of my bones.
I always say that because he doesn't seem like I don't know Eddie Jackson. I met him during the draft process, and that's the only interaction I've had with Eddie Jackson. So I don't know Eddie Jackson, but I don't take Eddie Jackson as that type. He could just sometimes people have bad years. It happens.
Well, I put it to you like this, Chris. I think that's one part of the puzzle. I think the other part of the puzzle is like ever since that 2018, he's been playing out of position. They keep bringing over other guys. He's a strong safety. No, he's a free safety. I'm sorry.
He's a free
But they
guy
keep
like
having
you
him
on the other
play
side of him.
strong safety, and they keep bringing over other free safeties with him. So now you got two free safeties back there. And his forte has never been tackling. It's always taking away the ball.
Right. And so it's, playing out of position can be hard too. If that's what, like I said, I hadn't really watched him, so I can't. Wow, man, y'all, wow.
Right now, 10 for 10 at your local Chicago grocery store, guys. Just so you know, just saying.
But I was Eddie. Like I said, I hadn't watched, but I remember, and it's hard to duplicate because the type of success that he had early was phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
and that's hard to sustain. Like he had like 6 defensive touchdowns or something.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, he was on fire, Coach. But it's like so. Right. So I was gonna say, if we're used to like his best season, his loftiest season,
18,
we know he's not gonna reach all of that, but show us some semblance of that, and it's like, I know you can't really comment, but it's like, to me, when you change your number and you draw more attention to yourself, then your media takes are more or less like, we gonna get this together. We see that the problem is not the we, the problem is the you. Now I'm wondering about that accountability piece. I'm wondering about the respect in the locker room. I'm wondering, does the coach, like you said, does the coach have the ear of the player or does the coach have the ear of the man? Then I'm looking at rookie defensive coordinator, former defensive back coach. Like, what was really going on where it just didn't work? And like you said, I'm hoping, because I say he had a bad 2 years. Some people say bad 3. I'm hoping that it's not continuing on, because that's a hard position. Full well, that's not an easy position to play.
No, it's not, and especially in Chicago, in a defensive city.
Yes.
I understand that. But you know what, for what I've seen of him early on in his career, I think he can. I hadn't watched him play, so I it's hard for me to comment on his play because I hadn't seen him play. I hadn't studied him.
So you haven't seen him play, but you know that cover 2 defense better than any of us can ever know it here.
Absolutely.
But so would Eddie Jackson really benefit from playing that single high deep safety where he's just roaming the field and then having another safety like a Chris Harris type guy in the box, stopping the run and just letting him roam a little bit more? Do you think this is the kind of defense that it can revitalize his whole career maybe?
Absolutely. Because the guy knows how to take the ball away. I think the guy has very good instincts. I think he has, great instincts. I think he got great ball skills. So, you know, with the defensive scheme kind of changing up a little bit, you know, he'll probably be more in center field more or split safety cover 2 and having the ability to, you know, to read the quarterback. But that only works, again, the D-line needs to be humming too. You know, the best thing for a secondary is a defensive line that's getting after the quarterback and being able to do it with 4.
Yep.
And I was going to ask you too, Coach, with that, because you said something that split safety, that single high. But with the new scheme of which Coach Eberflus runs, it's closely more towards that Tampa 2 that you used to run. So now it makes me think maybe we should leave Eddie alone and make sure we get a good compliment.
That's what I
Now, I'm not saying this, but I'm saying this. I like a Sean Taylor, God rest his soul, type of safety that can kind of do it all.
Who doesn't?
Hey, man, I wish they grew on trees, man.
My God.
Right?
I wish we had 2 of them.
But I'm saying, is that in that defense? Is that the type of guy we need to put with Eddie to succeed or to go back to his success?
I don't think it has to be Sean Taylor because you ain't gonna find him. It ain't too. I don't know if we'll ever see another Sean Taylor.
Well, the Walmart version, the great value version.
How about maybe a Jaquan Brisker, maybe a Jalen Petrie, maybe some guys like that are that strong safety type that can complement him well. Those are the kind of guys I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure to allow him to be able to roam back there and be a middle field safety, because I think he has that type of ability to see the quarterback, have vision on the quarterback, get over the top and go pick some of those balls off and make some of those plays and get back to the ball hawking player that I'm accustomed to seeing him for the plays that I would see of Eddie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So, Coach, when you come back to Chicago, man, hopefully you get up with some of the little people. We would love to hang out with you, man. And
I'll eat some Lou Malnati's on me.
Yeah, I'll eat the grainy pizza. I don't really eat the Malnati's like that. The crust is so grainy, but I'll eat it. You hang out with the DJ, I'll eat it.
Hey, man, I'm always in, man.
We have one more question here, and I've got to ask you this because I get this one a lot too. So do you think a fast outside linebacker skill set can transition to strong safety very well? I do.
It depends. It all depends. So it depends on his movement skills. So you can be fast, but yes. I need to see your hips, your change of direction. You know, because you got to be able to cover a tight end. You have to be able to play in space. So, like, what type of reactionary athleticism do you have? Because you got to play in space. You got to play back deep in the half as a strong safety, because you're not just going to play single high all game long. So, to me, yes, some can, but you got to look at those movement skills. And see, because today's NFL game is kind of going away from having a big burly guy and then a dude who can run around. Just like a jackhammer, sledgehammer type safety. You got to be able to move. You got to be able to have some change of direction. You got to be able to have some reactionary athleticism, ability to flip your hips, run, stay on top of receivers.
Yeah, I like that. And the opposite can also be true, because we've seen strong safeties come in and play that outside linebacker role very well. Too,
absolutely, like a strong.
I actually think that's easier.
It's way easier than a linebacker converting to a safety.
But I was gonna say similar to like that Isaiah Simmons, right?
Yes. So Isaiah Simmons, he's a good player. Like he came in, and so he's more of a linebacker, hybrid type guy.
He can play on all 3 levels, though. He's something special.
Man, I sure like that Dax Hill, man.
Tail. Like him.
Hey, Dax Hill. Now, you talking about the Michigan kid?
Yes.
Nah, he's a heck of a nickel.
I like
He's
him.
a really good nickel.
I like him.
He's a hitter too, but I don't know what they were doing over there in Michigan with him. I don't know, man. I love
your boy Jim Harbaugh. You know.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, we certainly appreciate you taking the time to holler at the regular people, man. We so appreciate it, Chris.
We got something
man. I told you, I still go to Walmart, man.
We got something that.
So I know this, Chris, though, for sure. T and I are gonna be at that game. So that weekend, I don't know if you fly in on a Thursday or whatever. Like seriously, we can link, but we're gonna be at that game. So
okay, all right, fair enough, man. Definitely.
And we got something else that we need to show you too.
Oh yeah,
you go too. You almost forgot, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Explain it,
I'm glad you remember. So the art director for our podcast, he put together a poster for you that I'm going to send to you. Go ahead, throw it up, AB.
Hey,
I like that. I like that. Dope. I like that.
Yeah, he's dope, man. He puts together a lot of good stuff, but yeah, he put this together. He said you're one of his favorite safeties.
Yeah,
man, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me.
So yeah, I'm gonna send that to you as soon as we get off here, man. But we certainly appreciate you taking the time, man.
Hey, no problem, man. No problem.
I'm so glad you're a man of your word. So glad, man.
I am, man. I tell you, that's all you got in this world, man. Is your word and your last name, man.
Love talking to you, Coach. Continued success, and I hope you get that other position soon, man. We're gonna be praying for you.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all, gentlemen.
Yeah, good luck to you until you play us.
All right,
see you, Chris. What a guy, man.
Awesome.
Every time he brings the heat, every time, man.
Let me tell y'all something.
Gosh.
Anytime now, poo-poo me later. But anytime you got a guy like that and how he just talked, as opposed to somebody talking about get your track shoes, hey, let me play for this guy. Let me play for Chris Harris. Let me play for Coach Harris. Damn dude in the track shoes and his hits. Let me play for this guy.
Right.
I'm gonna get my 44-year-old up. I'm going through the wall for that guy. Because you know why? He gives a damn for real. And he's talking about the same time.
We can't judge it now. Wait.
Hey,
give him
man,
let the coach get in there. Goddamn it, you judging already, man. They ain't even called one play yet.
I like it though. I like the way he speaks about I like the way he speaks about
Coach the
accountability.
Coach the man first, then the player. Just think about that for a second. In all walks of life, coach the man or the person first.
Yeah.
Then the player / position.
You can take that with a management too.
That's what I was on.
Commercial, but I got to take a break.
We got a commercial?
No, we don't have a commercial. But I got to take a break.
You got a commercial?
What'd you do with the Morse commercial?
I put it away somewhere. Yeah, but we
got stuff that we can talk about anyway because there's breaking news with this football team that was in the middle of our Chris Harris interview.
I saw that and I'm not happy.
It's very important.
Y'all go ahead. I'll be back.
Okay, bye.
All right.
He gone. Yeah. So, the Bears just signed who, JB?
Foster Moreau.
Foster. Nicholas.
Oh, I thought we were signing the tight end. You talking about the linebacker?
The linebacker.
The linebacker.
Middle linebacker.
Yeah, I'm like
one of the good coverages guys.
I thought it was Moreau, the Tight end.
Wrong.
Okay, the linebacker. No,
26-year-old.
Nicholas Morrow.
I like him.
Mike linebacker. So that answers this
Danny
question
Trevathan spot. Yeah, so
that we have been asking. Not
I
that
guess-
one.
I guess
Roquan's
they
gonna
put
be at
Miles
the
Jack
Mike,
Roquan's
and
gonna be at the wheel.
who's playing
Or the
Will?
Sam.
Roquan's playing Will now. Roquan's got to play Will because this guy is more of a coverage-based Mike linebacker. I mean, I'm sure he can play Will, but I think Roquan is destined for that Will spot now. I really do.
No.
I really do.
It's gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna do. I guess Miles Jack is out the.
He's the one that I was kind of hoping they'd get, and I wanted him to play that Will position and then put Roquan in the Mike, and then maybe go find another guy for the Sam out there. There's other guys out there. There's some guys in the draft you could get for the Sam.
Well, it's a couple of linebackers that we spoke of briefly that have not been signed yet.
Yeah.
So they're waiting for that second wave.
They're working, but huge signing for this team. I cannot wait to see the numbers on this deal because
okay, now I know what you're talking about.
That's gonna like our linebacking core is basically set now. I'm curious to know how long this deal is, but this kid is a good cover linebacker, and I think that answers that question because I think Roquan playing on that Will, playing that flat, playing that run on that, I think he's perfect for that Derek Brooks type, but faster and more explosive.
Does that mean we're going to be in a lot more nickel?
That is 1,000% what we're going to do, JB.
I mean, we already know that was
in my eyes. Yeah, that's 1,000%. And he's only 20. I think he's 26, so he's still very young. Very. I think he was like a 4.5 guy, something like that. He's got good speed. He's got good speed. He's got good size. He's got good coverage, though. That's what matters in this hybrid defense that you're going to run on that nickel. Massive, massive hire. They are set there. Now they have to go get a safety. And I heard that your boy Marcus May is off the table now. So as from what I just read, he is at least. I didn't get to read the full details, but I heard
somebody scooped him. Rollers on there.
Hang on. Yeah, let me see here. What it said.
Yeah, I mean that happened. I didn't expect us to make a play for him anyway.
Well, I knew we wasn't gonna go after Jesse Bates. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But Marcus May was right for the picking, man.
Yeah, I think he did get picked up by somebody. I don't know who exactly.
Marcus May got a 3-year, $28.5 million deal with $15 million guaranteed to go to the Saints.
See, that's affordable.
Yeah, that is. And that's super surprising me. But again, JB, that might be one of those positions that they're going to wait for the second and third tier free agency, or maybe even this is a massive draft spot because you and I talked about it last week on our other podcast. We spoke about safeties highly in this draft. There are guys in this draft, just like we talked about with our buddy Chris. You've got my guy from Baylor. We got Jalen Petrie. We've got Brisker. I can't ever say his name right. Jaquan Brisker. We've got him in here. Hopefully one of these guys falls.
They don't have to do something at that receiver position.
That's the other big one. So there's some names there that you can look at. I hear a lot of people saying Pickett is probably the one there.
George, that's Carl Pickett's son from the Bengals.
And what? He's 6'3", runs a 4.45. Like he's a big body guy, good player.
Give me that kid from North Dakota State.
We need a big body, and that's the other name that we're all hearing getting thrown around a little bit too. So, Watson, right? Isn't it Christian Watson or something like that?
Christian,
right?
Something like that. Yeah, something with a W.
Yeah, but
so. I like him.
Me and Terrence trying to flip the boxes at the same time. But those are some big moves right there, especially at that position, at the linebacker position. We are set there now. All they need to do is go find a Sam. But I'm not expecting like a world beater at Sam linebacker. I'm expecting like Hunter Hillenmeyer type guy. You know, somebody like that who's not in every play, but he can come in on the 4-3 package on.
Are you looking at an Ogletree for a 1-year deal?
Maybe there's a couple draft guys that I like actually that are perfect for that Sam spot, but that's not something we got to get into that much tonight. But we're going to talk about linebackers.
We're not really in a rush to get the Sam anyway. if they did Ogletree for a year, that'd be cool instead of wasting the draft pick on a guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I was right. It is Christian Watson. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was. And he's a big body guy too that has great.
He's like 6'4",
4'3",
6'5".
9.
Huh?
I might be off on the 40 time, but
4.36.
4.3. Okay, I was off by a little bit. I thought it was 4.39 for some reason. But yeah, great size, great speed. But is he that caliber player because he went up against lesser competition whenever he was whatever school that
North Dakota State.
Player. Thank you, North Dakota State. Like that level is not as high as you're going to see in the NFL, obviously. So
hey, he catches with his hands because I know Pickens catches with his body.
Yeah, but is he running those same routes as clean? Is he getting as open? Because open in the NFL and open at the second level college isn't.
Is it still called 1AA?
I think. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you.
For the championship, it's FBS and FBC or FCS, whatever it is.
Yeah, and you're right, Jason. We need a hammer safety, and that's exactly what we're saying. Is that there's guys in this draft you can get to be that hammer safety. 100%.
So listen, guys. Switching over to the offensive side of the ball, we're gonna start talking about wide receivers next week because we have a wide receiver coming on the podcast.
Oh,
I'm
really?
not going to say yet who it is. You all know who it is, but I'm not.
I know who it is
publicly yet who it is until it's confirmed again.
Email.
But so you look at our wide receiver position and what's available. Gallup is off the table.
Yep.
Christian Kirk. If
somebody overpaid.
If anybody was worried about Christian Kirk, he's off the table.
He's overpaid.
21 million.
Now wait a minute. I'm gonna tip my hat to my own horn. I told this young man down in the left-hand box about a guy named Zay Jones, and what happened? What happened?
What about him? What happened?
He got snatched up.
He got signed.
Nobody.
I think he went for. He went for exactly what we thought he was going to go for too. I believe he got 10 or 12. I can't remember what he got.
Hey,
fully guaranteed 1 year. I think if I remember right, it was either 10 or 12.
That was a guy.
They overpaid.
Gonna want to get.
That's what everyone does in free agency. They overpay. That's why we didn't want to.
Hey, but this is why
I told you that he was sought after. You said no.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say he was sought after. I said the Bears wasn't gonna get him.
We've got people in the chat asking about Juju because he's still out there.
And I was about to get to that. Juju is still out there. Juju is still out there. What do you guys think about that? I would just go ahead and get him.
I think he's gonna fall. I think he's gonna fall to that second wave, like Warwick always tells us, because his price is too high based upon his lack of production last year.
He had 9 touchdowns last year, though.
I mean, but if your boy getting 10 to 12 million, shit.
And Zay Jones did not have his numbers.
Clearly, they must.
Touchdown.
But again, at any given time, that team could have got either one of those, right? They chose.
See, what that tells me is that I think Juju's asking for more. And these guys are, instead of going after that mid-level high, because he's not obviously top tier, but he's a little sneaky under that, right? You'd put him at like, I would say like if you had a 1 and a 1A, he would be like a 1A type guy. Like he's not the top number 1 guy, but he's almost to that point, right? So he's probably asking for a little more money than
I don't think Juju's a number 1. I think he's a number 2.
I'm not saying that he is.
1B. I give him 1B.
He's like one of those kind of guys.
Yeah,
he's a high number 2 guy, and that's probably why he's not signed yet, and because he's wanting more money than these other guys that are these mid-level guys that are getting 10 million a year, 12 million a year.
I mean,
so I would say he's probably not signed because he wants more, and they want him to come back down to earth. That's just my guess.
Well, shit. I mean, it's gonna be hard to bring him back down to earth when you got
Kirk getting too. I would want
21 million.
I'm not paying Juju though.
And Jones getting 10 to 12 million. I mean, it's gonna be hard to tell him, hey, Juju, well, we know these guys that haven't produced as much as you have, are making $21 fucking million and $12 million a year. We'll give you 7.
There's actually a fight right now with a lot of NFL agents that are that are going to these GMs and going, look what Trent Baalke gave these guys. Look what he gave Kirk. And they're fighting back going, wait a minute, just because they pay over this does not mean that the whole market needs to flip up to this insane ass number right now. And that's the problem. Trent Baalke literally destroyed this market this year. And that's why I'm at the point now, I'm Ryan Poles. I'm waiting patiently and just grabbing some guys here and grabbing, just like you said, grabbing some guys in this draft coming up. Maybe get the Christian Watson. Maybe get some of these guys in with that first early second pick. And then maybe the next one, look at a safety. Look at a corner. There's guys in the second round that are worth this pick. I'm telling you, for much cheaper that can do the same stuff.
You know, a lot of these teams, man, when they have a serious need, they're going to overpay. And one thing I like about Ryan Poles, he's like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's what I love about it.
But see, you got to be realistic, fellas. Just
Sometimes
because Juju wants $20 million, that doesn't realistically mean. Now, thinking kind. Juju go before Chark?
Yes. Actually,
no.
Actually, Chark already went.
My point.
He went to the Lions. I believe he has a $9 million fully guaranteed with the incentive can be 10, if I remember right.
So now they're telling Juju, you got to come back down to earth. Now, my next thing is, with Landry being released, I believe people will come after Landry, Tampa Bay,
and overpay
Kansas City. No, I'm actually going to say Buffalo because they're about to lose Cole Beasley.
Yeah. I actually think the opposite. I think that what's going to happen with Landry is that he's going to think that, and then he's going to hit that market, and that market is not going to be kind to him. He's going to be on that downtrot deal. He's not going to get anything near.
No. I'm not saying he's
not
going to
get anything he wants.
I'm saying he's going to go
15
before Juju.
Yeah,
I
think him and probably Juju right now are looking at their best case scenario, getting $14 to $16 million. I guarantee you that's probably roughly around where they're going to get. Probably Juju getting a little more with him only being 25. That's my guess. That's ballpark average for me.
So
because he's better than those other small tier guys who are getting fully guaranteed deals for 9 or like 10, 11, 12 million dollars. And you can't tell me that Juju Smith-Schuster is not better than any of those guys.
So where's that going to land?
Better than all of them.
I really can't say he is because
A-Rob is kind of the 16, 17 million average guy too. That's what I think at least. But A-Rob's probably the happiest guy in the world right now.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys, about Juju, right? If we look at just sheer production, sheer numbers, you can go off of that. But I look at intangibles too. He's a character in the locker room.
Yeah.
If you get in trouble with Mike Tomlin, that kind of speaks volumes, right?
Yep.
You know, he could be possibly a locker room hindrance, right?
I don't think he was the same after AB left either. That's the other thing. I just don't think he was the same guy.
But now remember, he came off an injury. Only played 5 games last year. It's not like he set the world on fire. So he's got a lot of proving to do.
Yeah.
And we understand that, Rashad Kennedy. Cool Kennedy, by the way.
Yep.
Big fan.
Right.
But just because he blocks, we're talking about a guy that comes off of an injury and coming from the Mike Tomlin regime. You see James Conner got snapped up like that.
Yeah.
Then when Arizona got a hold of him and let him go, they snapped him up again. It's something about coming from that Mike Tomlin regime where it's like, if Mike Tomlin says you're a problem, you might
I don't
be
even
a
think
problem.
it's Mike Tomlin. I think that's just Steeler Nation. I think that's Steeler culture that just goes down from coach to coach.
And it could
There's
be
a reason that they only have 3 coaches in 30-some years.
And that could be, but what I'm saying is that's even more telling because I don't see Pittsburgh, at least in the public eye, beating down the door like trying to keep Juju. I don't see them saying
that's because they're smart.
Look, I saw they signed Mitch Trubisky.
Your mom just asked us about that too, but
Woo!
I think somebody wants to get the shout outs, but I was going to bring that comment up because mom's asked about Mitch Trubisky, and you guys know my opinion about Mitch Trubisky. I don't even need to speak on this subject.
Well,
$7 million. Bridge
So
quarterback.
to answer Mom's question,
that's it.
I kind of feel there's a little bit of desperation, but I also feel they don't want to draft a quarterback.
I think you're wrong, JB. I think you're 1,000% wrong.
You think they're going to draft one?
I 100% think that they are
may
going to
not
go
be in
after
the first round.
I think they're going to go after Kenny Pickett. I really do. I really think Kenny Pickett is going. I wouldn't say that.
Well, let me tell you what I think. I think we should table this conversation until next week. And we should go into our shout outs and get out of here. Okay. Foul C, why don't you go ahead and kick it off?
Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh, shit.
We're going to try something with this. Hang on. Let's see if I can find one for you. Let's see what it sounds like. We're trying to do this little music on StreamYard, see if it works with our shout outs, but no. I don't think it's working. You keep going.
I don't know what it was.
Go ahead.
Something weird.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out to the podcast. Everybody showing love. Remember to like and subscribe to us. Big ups to everybody in the comment section. We got a lot of feedback today. Special shout out to our special guest, Coach Chris Harris. Our own Chicago's very own safety. Wish him all the best of luck until he plays us. Yeah. Shout out to you boys, T-Nick, AB, JB. Shout out to our moms. My mom was watching today. Shout out to JB's mom for watching out. Yeah, she texted me. She still ain't got into the whole writing on YouTube thing. So
we'll get her there.
Shout out to the kiddies. They should have their ass in bed, but I know they ain't because I can hear them in the background and shit. Shout out to my sister. Shout out to all our family that shows us love. And shout out to the shot. Summertime shot on its way, baby.
Oh, it's coming. Oh.
I can't wait.
Woo, boy.
Okay, Bar Scott.
Can't wait. I
need to JB, it's all you, Playboy.
So always, first and foremost, shout out to my moms. Always my number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 supporter. Love to have you on the show, moms. Appreciate you more than anything that you never could know and imagine. Shout out to all of our fans that came on, some other people that were texting me that are just fans from abroad that don't really speak in the chat but are still watching. Special shout out to some extra family that I didn't know was watching. Which would be equivalent of my great cousin, Frank. Equivalent of what I guess that would be my great aunt. She was watching. Pastor DeJuan Bynum, who is also a cousin of mine. Shout out. We gotta watch the cussing, cuz my bad, but thank you for tuning in, and all my Bynum family. I love y'all. Thank you for chiming in always. Shout out to my crew every Tuesday. If it wasn't for this, hey, sometimes we have form like Bull trying to save the world. That's what we do. But hey, I know you said it, Chris. I'm gonna say it again. Shout out to Coach Chris Harris. Like, man, some of the things he was saying really resonated with me, and it was just like awesome to feel that every coach is not just an X's and O's, rah, rah, rah guy. Some people are actually trying to cultivate minds and cultivate human beings, cultivate men to make us better. Because like you said, football is only that long. Your life is that long.
Yep.
Take that into perspective. So shout out to Coach more than anything. Appreciate you.
1,000% agree. I could not agree more with you. That was my first and foremost was Chris. My gosh, Coach. Salute to you, my friend. Like, you brought it again as usual. I just wish your router wouldn't have been from Walmart, but other than that, man, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Our chat tonight, we had so many people. Our buddy here, Kasim Baker, jumping in. Frank the Tank jumping in with some stuff here, guys. There were so many on here. There were some new people on here that I didn't really notice. my buddy Jason on here. He's a great guy, has a lot of good insight. He had a laundry list of questions for him ready to go already. Moms, as usual. Love you, moms, as usual. Our boy, the art director, champion of the world, Julian, right there, bringing the art every week. We love you. Thank you for what you're bringing, man. Oliver, our buddy, again, much love to you. I could keep going. Our buddy Peter Kennedy. We had some new people in here. Our buddy Devin Thomas Sr. in here. I can keep rolling. There's another guy, T. Aaron, right here. He's the one that actually notified me about the Bears' new hire. He flipped it in. So many more in here, guys. Thank you for what you do to us. Our buddy Cool Kennedy, yeah, gotta say to our buddy Cool Kennedy, bringing it all the time, man. Love you guys. Thank you for what you do, and to you guys as usual, and also to Bud Light, special Blackhawks too, yeah, and of course my crown.
You got to get the crown. Okay.
My crown piece. Right. That's it for me, man. All you, T.
Okay. Well, yeah, Chris, first and foremost, I'm sorry, Coach.
Yeah.
Coach, put some respect on his name. That's Coach. And he definitely dropped some nuggets for us to grow on, goddammit. The triple R's. And he also said that he asked his players, do I have permission to coach you? So now the ball is in their court. So when they act up, he said, well, I thought I had permission to coach you.
So
what the hell are you doing now?
What would you think, T, if you were a player and you had him running up to you saying that? What exactly would you be thinking?
I would be thinking.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Every time I fall for that shit. Every time I fall for that shit. But I'm gonna tell you what I would think.
No, anyway. But like honestly though,
I would tell you what I'm gonna think. I would think that, damn, this dude is for real.
Like,
thank you.
Really
like oh shit, maybe this guy actually gives a damn about
right. He gives a shit. So big shout out to Coach for that. Yeah. And all the nuggets that he dropped tonight, and the fact that he cut out some time for us, and he was going to his son's basketball game. That says a lot about the man, Chris Harris. That, you know, he's a man of his word, which he told me today. If you don't stick to your word, you ain't shit. That's what his father said.
Yeah. Yeah.
So big shout out to him. Big shout out to y'all, man. Big shout out to y'all. Nobody want to hear me talk. Nobody want to hear me talk, just me. So I appreciate having you all on the podcast as well, man. I appreciate it. And everybody in the chat was on fire.
Yeah, it was great.
Fire. I can't say all the names. I think AB did that already.
I got most of them. I think there's a few I missed actually.
But
yeah.
What I will say is we appreciate even the ones who did not say anything, but they were watching.
What are they called?
But they are officially lurkers. Hi, lurkers. But we appreciate you just as much because you're watching. You don't have to say shit if you don't want to. You don't got to say anything. As long as you're watching and supporting, we love you for that. So thank you for that. Like I said, we're going to talk about wide receivers next week. We're going to start talking about wide receivers. We're going to have a wide receiver on. I wasn't going to tell you his name, but I might as well go ahead and say it now. Brandon Lloyd. He went to U of I and he played here. I think it was only for like 1 or 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm. I remember one for sure.
Yeah, former 49er too.
Yeah, yep. I remember 1 year for sure here.
But he was solid. He was solid. He was a good wide receiver. So we are going to have a conversation with him about his career and what he thinks of some of the guys that we saw in the combine.
We had him for 1 year, yeah.
1 year? Okay.
Yep. We had him for 1 year. He was at Denver for a couple. He was with New England, San Francisco, and Washington.
Okay.
He's been around. He was all over.
Okay.
Played for 11 years. So
we gonna holler at him. Yeah. So that should be fun. That should be a good podcast next week. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold my shout outs hostage anymore. I'll just save them until next week. But for now, for my man Foul Mouth C, for my man the Snap Man, who knows every single stat from the 80s and 90s, basketball and football, for the X Factor, I am T Nick, the point guard and quarterback, and we are out of here.
happy St. Patrick's Day. We out.
We out.
Later.
We out.
That's it.
Yeah, we done here. We out. Okay, so we out.
If you're not watching this, flag on you.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.